One of our teammates is getting married and she had a terrible fence, and we thought, you know what? FenceTrac is actually sponsoring this video, and we're gonna install a FenceTrac fence here in her backyard to replace this nasty old thing. When we get it done, there will be zero maintenance and it'll be one of the most beautiful fences in this entire neighborhood. If you want something that's a little bit different and really classy and elegant, I think you'll like FenceTrac. Now, I personally have never installed this system. Alan's installed a little bit of it, but it's just bolts and holes, so we can do this. And did I mention that we have some real professionals here? Cade and Carson, the one and the only Alan. Alan is gonna be running the show because I'm not qualified, clearly, by how I'm dressed. Real good choice of clothes today.
You're making great life decisions.
I'm here. What more can I say?
Because it kind of looks like... So we lost quite a few of our locates. We can see where it's running down the alley, but we can't see where it's coming into the house.
What we think is a power line right here, a communication, the gas line, and we're right down the middle of all of it.
We're gonna hand dig 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a total of 6 holes to get clear of these, and we should be good after that. Famous last words. Yay, go team.
I'm gonna go get a pounder and make a little adapter real quick, and then we can just drive everything. So what we're thinking about doing, we're gonna make an adapter so that we can drive the square posts just to save us a bunch of time. The other thing that does for us is if we do happen to be close, we're not trying to use a great big auger, we're down to a hole this size, so there's less impact and less chance of us contacting any of this stuff. We're gonna actually dig some holes and figure out where this line is. Safety first. They were supposed to locate, and they did locate, and then we called in a refresher and then did not come and refresh our lines, and then it rained last night, and now we have almost no lines because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and this is the stuff you run into on a regular basis. Oops.
It's heavy. I realize I'm not looking my best. I'm not a big fan of concrete. So what we're doing right now is we're setting up our string at the bottom of the C-channel. That's the grade basically, is the bottom of the C-channel. So we'll leave them up a little bit because what's gonna happen is as we drive these posts, we will probably deform the top a little bit so the caps don't go on. So we'll just trim a little bit off the top. We have decided that we are definitely gonna drive the rest of these. There's no reason we can't. Had we planned ahead a little bit, we probably could have driven all of these. So we're gonna go ahead now that we've got all our gate posts set. We had to set those. It doesn't break my heart that we set all those in concrete because they are gate posts. They're big 6-foot heavy leafs, so we know they won't move. The rest of these will be fine. I think it'll go much, much faster. We've been working for about 3.5 hours, I'm gonna guess. Driving posts is way easier. I mean, it's just easier on your body, and this job's hard enough. So what we have here is we have some redneck engineering and problem solving. We don't have a chuck for this, but we know we can fit on a 2 3/8 pipe. So I put a 2 3/8 pipe here, put some of the best welds known to man right here on the pipe, from the pipe to the plate. And then I put a 3-inch piece of post that I showed you that I cut off, and we welded that on the bottom side. Now we just have to hope these welds hold. The other thing we're worried about is because this is all metal inside here and we're metal on metal, we're gonna put a sock over the top of the post just to kind of give ourselves a buffer, and we'll see how well that works. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna find out. we're starting to put this together. We've got some posts driven. Now, I will tell you there's a couple things I'm going to point out the flaws so that you know if you try to attempt this, what we would do differently. You'll see on this post right here, we have a big blemish, and that is because of our adapter. So we'll touch this stuff up, and luckily it's for Veronica, so we've already asked for her forgiveness. She said that she'll, as long as we pay her a couple extra dollars an hour, she'll go ahead and let it slide. If we were going to do this again, what I would do is I would leave these posts up about that high above what I wanted, because what we've got with our adapter, wherever it went, we tried to sock, and it just chewed through the sock because there's so much vibration, it chewed through the sock, and it did help a little bit. But the best thing to do is just plan on throwing that much away. Plan on leaving the post 3-4 inches high. You could even put in all your channels or measure down 4 or 5 inches, and I would put the C channel on there because then it'll be below, and then I can just come back in and clean cut all those posts off after it does the damage it's going to do. We lose about 3 inches of set depth, not going to be a problem. Now that that's all done, we've gone through and we're starting to put the rails in. They fit perfectly, so like 6 foot 1/2 inch is about what we found is pretty perfect, as long as you don't have unlevel ground. The steeper the slope, the more you'll have to adjust that, and you may even have to angle cut your rails. About 6 foot 1/2 inch works really, really good. It doesn't make it so tight that we're scratching up these posts. It all works good. We've got a little bit of adjustment in these slotted screws. So now, when we come to the end of a line, we don't want to have a remainder section. So we don't want to go full section, full section, full section, and then at the end have a little piece that's that big. It looks terrible. What we do is we basically reduce the last couple sections by a foot. It'll all look nice and even. It won't look too awkward. We didn't have to trim every panel, but we trimmed enough to make it look good. Should we test fit these a couple and just make sure we're notching the bottom corner? And what that does is allow for this bolt right down here so that our pickets can go all the way to the bottom. Good. Boom, boom. That's all there's to it. And then we can start stacking on top of that. All right, pretty simple. Just stack them in top to bottom, and we're starting with the groove or the tongue side. And that seems to work really good for the height. When we do that, we don't have to notch this top picket, and it covers everything up really good, and that saves us a whole step. So putting the groove down works very, very well for this system. Yeah, that's perfect. Now you can see that we'll be able to get our bolt in here. The thing will come down to about here. We won't have any daylight, and we don't have to notch that. That's like a perfect setup in my book. Man, we're doing our best to keep this stuff clean, but geez, it is a fight today. So the top rail there is down there. And voila, that is exactly how the FenceTrac systems goes together. So one of the most important things too is to make sure these all seat down. And with all this mud and dirt we're having, every once in a while we'll kick a little dirt in this groove. Just make sure these grooves are very clean, so you can get a tight lock and you don't have panels cattywampus, because if anything's off with this horizontal style, you'll probably see it.
So surprise, surprise, we broke our little homemade adapter for the what, 3rd time now? Yeah, 3rd time we broke it now. Mark just pulled a mark and disappeared, so if I hurry up before he gets back, I could probably just have these other holes dug real quick. We still got concrete sitting here. It's time to get the show on the road and stop messing with this. If we had the proper tools and if we were prepared to drive these, it'd be different. But our homemade adapter is not working out, and we need to get this done. So back to plan A.
So I just got back because I had to run up to the office, and I see that sometimes things absolutely do not go as planned. We should have gave up on this so long ago. We should have had these posts set this morning, but we screwed around trying to set it up and take the easy way out, and guess what? It's not the easy way out. And now here we are mixing concrete again, but we will get these posts in today.
Slight tap. One more slide. Okay. Oh, up just a hair. It slid back down, up just a little, down a little. Oh, guy.
This is a wrap. Man, sometimes you gotta go slow to go fast. That was today. We would have had these posts up by noon if we'd have just freaking sucked it up
And mix some concrete.
and freaking mix some concrete. But that's how much I hate mixing concrete. I want to try everything I can to get away from that because I hate it so much. But today was not the day. Did not have the stuff I needed.
Tools,
The right tools would have made
it
all
would
the
have been
difference.
different.
We did
But
not have the right
we didn't
tools.
come with the
and
right tools. We tried to make do, and that was
we
a
should have
fail.
just said we don't have the right tools for that. We should have stuck with plan A, which is pour it in concrete. And Alan will be back tomorrow. I've got appointments tomorrow. Alan was right on that too. He said it would take 2 days. But he's gonna stay tomorrow with the boys and get this finished and take you all the way through to the end. I'm gonna go get some sleep and some food, I think. Adios.
All right, Kate's going ahead of me and tacking on the C channel and putting the bottom rail below. I'm going through and putting the rest of the screws through the U channel and bolting up the bottom rail.
What I'm doing here is I'm putting this little homemade jig piece of cardboard up here to get my U channel set to the right height. Boom, just like that. That gets 5 big booms.
Do you love your fence?
I do, it's so pretty and it matches the house perfectly. We got a sample piece of the insert, so I took it down to Sherwin-Williams right down the street and said, match this. And I think it looks great. I'm super excited.
So day 2 here, we've got all our posts in, everything's set up overnight. After our little fiasco yesterday, plan A definitely went better with just digging and pouring some concrete. The boys are starting with throwing some sections together. They're whipping that out pretty quickly. I'm gonna get started on putting together all 6 of these gates. That's a lot of gates. So I know what I'm gonna do the rest of the day. Build gates, hang gates. One double drive right here, another double drive right there, and then 2 watt gates over there. So in making our gates, what we want to do is we want to find out how much slope is on the gates. On a double drive gate, you want that as flat as possible. The other thing we want to check is our ground clearance. We look at our fence, where it's at right there, where our fence is at for clearance right there. And then this gate's going to open out. So it's going to come out open into this alleyway, which it's built up just a little bit from the yard right here. So full open, I'll just take my little flat straight edge right here. I'll put a level across it, level that up. When this is level, it's pretty level with the bottom of the fence right here. So what I'm gonna do, just to give us a little bit more clearance over this, I'm gonna make my gate a 1/2 inch shorter just to give us just that little bit of clearance so that it doesn't rub. You can also just dig something like this out. So one thing with making our gate a 1/2 inch shorter on this horizontal fence, don't look too closely because we haven't adjusted that back here yet, but your eye naturally goes to these lines. It'll naturally follow these lines. So with making this gate a 1/2 inch shorter, we need to take that into account when we put our first picket in. Because we're making it a 1/2 inch shorter, we're gonna rip a 1/2 inch off that bottom picket so that these lines carry through to the gate. Professional. The top rail and then the U channel are both slotted holes, and you can use the slotted hole to adjust your up and down a little bit. As we got it all built, we've been looking down these lines and we'll see a spot here and there where it needs to be adjusted just that little bit to get it to come flat. We loosen this bolt up, and then once you do that, you can just let it down just a little bit to get all these pickets to line up, and then tighten that bolt back down. So we've got our gate kit out. Oh, and then a real quick note, we made a really awesome gate building table here with a old fence panel, 2 sawhorses, bingo, bango, bongo. Anyways, our gate kit here, these are our verticals. There's this inner stiffener and then this outer cover. And then these rails right here are our top and bottom rail. they look a lot similar to the top and bottom rail on the fence panel. Our verticals are the sleeved ones. There's a rubber in here that we don't need to use with these 1-inch wide pickets. If we were using a narrower picket, like a 7/8 or a 3/4, you'd need to leave this rubber in. It keeps the pickets from rattling around in the wind. So we'll take that out of the verticals. You need to leave the rubber in on the top and bottom rail on this horizontal fence. Because we're making this gate a 1/2 inch shorter, we're gonna cut it off of this internal stiffener. We're just gonna take that 1/2 inch. So come over here, around the end here. The top and bottom rail pops right between the two vertical pieces, just like that. So to start off, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that we're seated in this corner. This rail's all the way that way. The internal is all the way down. This top cover piece is sitting flush with the bottom of the bottom rail. Once we're exactly where we want, we're gonna start with just drilling one hole to hold everything together. We're gonna go around the whole gate doing that. We're gonna end up putting a total of 4 screws in each corner on each side. Because there's so much thickness of the metal here, it is easiest just to go ahead and pre-drill a hole before he runs a screw in. So we've got 1 screw on all 4 corners. Now you can see that this is the top of our gate. We've got the vertical up just a little bit more, that's so you can get your cap on. So now that we have 1 screw in all 4 corners, we'll go ahead and square this gate just using a tape measure. 103 1/4 there, okay. Yeah, 103 1/2. 103 3/8. 103 3/8, okay. So I need to rip a 1/2 inch off the bottom one. Perfect. So after we got it all squared and we got our screws in the corners, we ended up taking the top rail back off. We got to take that top rail off so that we can get our picket slid in. And then after we get all our pickets in, we can slide that top rail back in, put our screws back in on this side, on the top. We'll flip the gate over and then we'll do 4 screws, all 4 corners on the other side as well. Bingo, bingo, bungo. Okay, this is the low post and it slopes up that way, so we want to hang it on this low post so that as it opens we gain ground clearance. If we hang it on the high post, it'll just sit there and drag the ground as we open it. So we always hang it on the low post with the slope pointed up so that you don't lose any ground clearance. That puts these hinges on this post. We want to make sure we keep our hinges close to the top and then close to the bottom. Now these hinges are adjustable. You can spin it in and out with these nuts. We planned on an inch gap here on the hinge side, so I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of preset that up. These gates aren't super light, so the less we have to hold them, the better. These gates are a little heavy, so we can use a little block to set it on to help us get it where we want it, so we don't have to sit there and hold it. I think right there is where it is. These hinges are adjustable in and out, but they're not adjustable up and down. So you want to make sure that you have your up and down good. The in and out you can adjust, but not so much the up and down. I like it. The only thing I think we'll adjust is we'll adjust this end of the gate up. We can do that by running this in a little bit or the bottom out a little bit. I think it looks pretty good. Boom. latch and a handle, and this gate's done. Ta-da! Hello, welcome to Not My Crib. Turned out really well. We just have, you know, 1 gate down, 5 more to hang. At least they're built. We're gonna go ahead and do that. You don't need to stick around for the other 5. I mean, you saw one. You pretty well got it by now. Super nice system. Not a lot to it. Put your posts in the ground, mount your U-channels, bolt your bottom rail to your U-channel, and then just start infilling the pickets. Get to the top, slap your top rail on. One more thing that we did find useful or easier for us was we just went ahead and we put all the pickets in after we got our bottom rail in. And then before we got the top rail in, we could kind of look down these lines. We could see where it needed adjusted up and down just a little bit. All we had to do was just loosen up the bolt on the bottom, and then we could adjust that rail up or down a little bit here and there, just that little bit. With this horizontal fence and all these lines, you definitely can notice if you're off just a slight 1/8 1/4 inch. So that adjustability in the bottom rail was very, very handy. It helped bring this fence to the finish line looking amazing. Very nice, durable product. These are solid steel posts, some nice heavy duty rails. I've seen some other products that are pretty similar to this in the box stores. Definitely not the quality that this is, that's for sure. This stuff has got some beef to it. It'll withstand our Wyoming wind, and I think our team member Veronica and her new husband James are gonna love this fence for years to come. And as you can tell, she color matched her house to this fence. Pretty cool. Until next time, I'm Alan with SWI, and you have a good dang day.